Now that we've got the scheduling completed, the employees can then go ahead and clock in and out. Now at the clock, they're going to go ahead and enter their ID number. They're going to press the in button when they clock in. They're going to put their finger on the fingerprint device, and it's going to allow them to clock in or not based on the schedule that we just entered. If they are not scheduled, it'll tell them at the clock, you're not scheduled, go see a manager. Same if they clock in earlier than our grace period. It's going to tell them you're clocking in too early, go see a manager. We do have restrictions on how they can clock in and out, and we can enforce your rules at the time clock. Now, if they do happen to get clocked in, because they clocked in based on their scheduled time, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to hit the TimeCard button. Once I select the TimeCard button, it's going to show me a list of all of the pay periods. Now, I can go back many, many years in TimePro and pick up a pay period for any week or multiple weeks that we have stored in the system. The historical data is stored forever in TimePro, so you don't have to worry about losing any data. The current week is the top one. That's our current week. This is last week. I could edit last week's or process payroll, or if I just want to look at somebody in the current week of data, I just double click on that current week of data. I would then select my employee. Again, my list would come up with just the employees I have rights to based on my login. Now, you can see here, this is just really Monday and part of Tuesday's punches in here. I have a lot of data going on. The first punch here, that's a spread of hours. This person came in at 9 a.m., worked until 8 p.m., but had a couple breaks and lunches in between, so he actually worked over 10 hours. So in New York, when that happens, from your first in to your last out, TimePro will generate a punch called spread of hours automatically. It will do that in the morning, every morning for yesterday, and it will create the spread of hours. It can also create a meal deduction for you as well, and it can also create a call-in, so that if the call-in, if they worked less than 3 hours, TimePro will generate a punch called call-in that will add to the time card as well for the difference between the 3 hours and what they actually worked. Now you can also see that this employee happened to punch in at 9 a.m., clocked out at lunch 11:45 a.m., came back from lunch at 12:15, then they took a break at 2, then they came back from their break at 2:15, went to lunch at 5, came back at 5:30 p.m., and then they went home for the day at 8. When they clocked out at 8, they also happened to enter their tips that they made for that punch for that day, $45, and that information can then get transferred across to the payroll system as well. You can also see on Tuesday that employee came in at 9, they went to lunch at noon, came back at 12:30. I could then clock them out. They're not out right now. Once I open up this time card, I own the time card. I could do whatever I want with it. I could delete this punch, I could clock him out, I could clock him in, I could change the job to any job that I want to, or only jobs that the employee is linked to. And I can then add additional punch data like vacation, sick, holiday, those types of things. I could also look at their accruals to see if they've earned any vacation, sick pay. I can see what they've taken, and I can always see their remaining balance. So there's a lot of information in this time card screen, but basically all of this information comes in from the time clock or is automatically generated from TimePro through the process procedures that allow us to create spread of hours punches, meal punches, call-in punches, and anything a client might need. Also to the right, we store pay rates. We store their actual in and out time. If we had rounded the punch data, we store the schedule time that they clocked in and out from what schedule they were, and the device they use to clock in and out is also stored in TimePro, and it's stored historically as a permanent history.